There's that cliche, I wouldn't change it because then I wouldn't be who I am right now, but that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. There's been a few times in this where it's like, I'm getting off the Tom Simmons ride.
Yeah. You're okay with not being what you are?
Yeah,
You're
I
okay
don't
with
think- I don't think
messing with the timeline?
I don't think there's a long wait to get on this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
If you could go back in time to speak to 20-year-old Tom, what would you say? You only got 30 seconds, and it starts in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold on, my timer's now.
don't fall in love with her.
God damn.
No,
I thought it was going to be fun. 15 seconds.
It would be more like believe in yourself stuff, believe in
10 seconds.
work on yourself. That's it.
5 seconds.
Invest in Google.
You just showed your age.
Yes. Invest in Google and Apple.
Do you think 20-year-olds that you would listen to Apparition You? Like,
It's funny you say that, dude, because that guy, that Richard Bach we were just talking about, like one of the first 3 or 4 books I read from him is this book One, and he's flying a plane with his wife or whatever, and they go into some vortex or whatever, and then they end up flying into a different
I
reality.
hate when that happens.
Yes, they fly into a different version of themselves, like a younger version of themselves, and they sort of, she goes and talks to the younger version of her, and he talks to the version of him.
Yeah.
And it's when they first met and they didn't like one another, and they're sort of like, you're wasting your time. This is the guy you end up with, blah blah blah.
They're gonna mess it up.
Yeah. And then they fly out of there, and then they land in a different time or a different part of their life. And
They're
then
just like, hey, we're gonna have a private jet. Like,
Yes.
stay with this guy.
So I think that's a common question people say. Is like, what would you, if you could go back to your younger self, what would you say?
Yeah.
Yes. What would you say to yourself?
What I say? Oh, let me start my timer.
What?
All right. Hey, kid. You don't gotta do everything. You don't have to do it all at once. There's time. Pump the brakes. You can turn a lot better when you ain't accelerating so fast. You're gonna go into a wall.
Really? That's what you would tell yourself?
Yeah.
That sounds like something your grandpa would tell you.
I don't know. Just calm down. You're gonna be okay. It would shock you how okay you're gonna be. All right, my time's up.
Oh, that's a good. That's pretty good. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't know
gonna
that
be-
I really don't know how that I would. There's that cliche, I wouldn't change it because then I wouldn't be who I am right now, but that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. There's been a few times in this where it's like, I'm getting off the Tom Simmons ride.
Yeah. You're okay with not being what you are?
Yeah,
You're
I
okay
don't
with
think- I don't think
messing with the timeline?
I don't think there's a long wait to get on this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would tell myself enjoy the ride. Like, you know what I mean? Enjoy it while it's happening more.
Yeah.
Because I can say that looking back. When I lived in the RV, when I first got married, all these kind of things that
When you got in the RV and drove into a vortex?
Yeah. I was like on my way to somewhere else in my
Yeah.
head
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't there. So
Mhm.
I would do that.
Yeah,
Like when
I
I,
feel
did
like I had that
Montreal as
too.
a comic, it was like about, well, I got to get a deal,
Yeah.
not fucking go here and have fun and enjoy it, and
Yeah, I feel like I had mine. That was me too, 7 years ago. It's weird. I'm 27 now.
Yeah.
Birthday was yesterday.
Yes, you're closer to remembering how you felt as a 20-year-old. As me, was I drinking still? I guess
Well, that's
I was.
me.
I guess I was. Yeah, I was. I would tell myself to go ahead and quit that a little quicker.
Give up the booze. Give up the schnapps. What
Although
did you drink? God damn it. That's what you
Green
drank.
Goddammits, dude.
Yeah, green goddammits.
Gatorade and Golden Grain.
Yeah.
But those were, that's, I got out of hand pretty quick with drinking. But it would have been better if I'd have done that a little better, or figured out.
Yeah, pick up smoking.
Take up smoking?
Yeah. Take up smoking.
Yeah. I'm going to start that. I think I
Fentanyl.
just got a visit from me from 20 years from now, and it actually said that. He's actually told me that in the parking lot. Take up smoking.
Take up smoking.
Yes.
Where do you think you'll be in 20 years?
I'd be dead.
Come on, you're not gonna be dead. Where do you want to be in 20 years?
I'd like to be going to a major league stadium and watching my son play baseball.
Oh, that's cool.
Or I'd like to be.
How old would he be then? He'd be
retiring probably.
Yeah, I was about to say he'd be old. They'd be hanging his rafter up.
Yeah, that'd be
or
cool.
hanging his
like,
jersey up.
I want to be there at his retirement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where he's like, I'm retiring. Nobody retires. They end up you get kicked out of baseball basically.
Yeah.
Nobody's like,
Or it could be like Albert Pujols, you know?
What, bad for 6 years? And then
Yeah.
you have a run at the end where you suddenly are good again. You know what it is? It's like when you take. Have you ever had to put down an animal, like a dog or something?
When I was hunting, when I was a kid, yes.
Okay, so no. But what I mean is like your dog starts to get really
no, I've
sick
never had
and
to put
frail,
down a pet, no.
And you're like, I love
like
this thing so much. The best thing to do is kill it.
Yeah.
Because for it, right?
Yeah, because it's suffering.
Yeah. And you're tired of cleaning up. Anyway, that day, when it's the day, I wonder what percentage of this happens to people. The dogs.
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Because
now.
the dogs are suddenly like, they'll be their old selves again for like an hour.
Oh yeah, they get better. Humans do that too. Like people on their deathbed, like they get better, and then they're like, oh, and then they like want to do stuff they normally do, and then they like die immediately.
Oh really?
That's what I hear.
Yeah, I guess when my father-in-law died, he was like deranged and on the drug, and like, blah, blah, blah. And then at one point he sat up, and Owen was there, and he was like, "I love you, and don't you ever forget that." And then about an
That
hour.
was the last thing he said.
Well, no, there was some more. Like his son whispered in his ear, basically like, "You can go."
Yeah.
So and then
did he?
And then his wife went home finally to get some sleep, and that's when he died. That's what people do.
Now that she's gone, I can rest.
Yeah. He's like, damn, finally somebody. No, but like, so that was a weird moment of like where it was like he had some clarity amidst all the dying drug shit happening.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe it was just like that was all crazy talk too. Who knows? But
yeah. Maybe he wanted to leave before she could come back and ask him to get something for him. 'Cause that happens.
No, that does
Could
happen.
you pick me up?
Right. Why are you in it? She would be yelling at him about something.
Yeah.
Like, I told you not to.
Or saying
I feel like it's weird because I feel like the last sort of injury he had that led to his decline is me and Serena kind of caused it.
What'd you guys do? Trip him or something?
No, worse. Not worse. Her mom told us that he wanted a tree, like he wanted this. I forget, maybe it was a. What are these southern spring trees that blossom so pretty or whatever? Anyway,
rhododendron.
Dogwood. No, anyway, he wanted one of those
bush.
trees.
Yeah.
Or she wanted one. So I went and got it. We got it. Brought it over there. Dug a hole in the yard and put it in there and blah blah blah. And then his wife wanted it either moved or dug or put down deeper. And it didn't need to be deeper. I've literally looked up how to do it, what the depth to put it at.
Yeah.
So he was out there redigging it.
Yeah, classic old guy thing to do. I'll do it.
Yeah, and then he broke his ankle.
Uh.
And then I don't want to say that caused it, but that was sort of at the end. Yeah. He knew he was dying, and I think that he knew that.
What is up
already.
with older women wanting their husbands to do more when they get older?
A dogwood tree.
Yeah, but I feel like when I was younger, I love my Nana so much, but we had to move a rock one time, and it was like, why are we moving this rock? I don't know. I just think
she
it's
wanted
fun.
it moved?
Yes, and it's just kind of funny how it's like, dude, this rock has been here for 40 plus years,
You know, I think I didn't want to be that guy that would be like, all right, I'll go move the rock. But that resistance to that is one of the things that ends up hurting your relationship in the long run. You got to figure out what of those things to make the stand on. It's like instead of like always being like, what?
Yeah. Well, I was also like 13, so I was like, I guess I'm moving a rock
Yeah,
for Nana.
yeah.
I would move that rock for Nana right now, though, because I love Nana. But I'd still be like, I don't know why she wants this rock moved, but I'm going to move it.
They end up normally being right. It ends up looking better where they want it, or something.
I mean, they feel better about it. That's all that matters, I guess. I don't got to look at that rock all day. They got to look at that rock all day.
God damn, dude, you're moving rocks around. If I could go back to 20-year-old me, what would I say? I don't know. I would ignore it the way my 18-year-old son ignores what I tell him. You know what I mean? I already have that option.
You'd be like, shut up, old man.
And he's a better version than of me.
Well, that's how it's supposed to go, right? If he was worse, wouldn't that suck? That means you failed. But you didn't fail. He's better. He's better than your kid's supposed to be better than you.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not better at me at chess or comedy. I'll keep that. I keep those for now.
Okay. Well, he's also probably better at being humble, I guess. Maybe
Oh,
too.
no, sir.
Yeah.
No, sir. That's a thing, dude. Like in his baseball game, like they made it to the regional. Did I talk to you about this already?
Yeah.
They made it to the regional championships. Like they were.
Yeah.
He was dominating. He was pitching a shutout. Their kids were like jawing at him the whole time, and he was enjoying it and having fun. And then he started He started doing the damn. He'd strike a guy out, and he'd be like, he'd do the sword, or he'd do something out to center field, like.
Oh wow.
And so he did that 3 or 4 times in the game.
Yeah.
And they were up 2-0. They get in the 6th inning.
2-0. I mean, that's not. I mean, personally, for me, I'd be like, of course, as soon as I do the samurai thing, they're gonna hit like something.
Yeah, well,
that's my thinking.
That's exactly what fucking happened in the 6th inning.
Okay, and then of course they did the sword thing back at him with their baseball.
They did not.
bats.
They did not.
Well,
they had some
really
funny ass
missed an
heckles
opportunity
though.
there.
I was
Yeah?
like, "What were you laughing at?" And he was like, "You didn't hear them? Like all the girls started going, Owen, Owen." And then somebody
On the opposing team?
Yes, somebody
Yeah.
like their student section.
Yeah.
And then one of their crowd members like, that's the most pleased you're ever gonna hear women, right, or something like that. And he literally was like laughing and like clapped his glove. He's like, that's funny, you know what I mean? So
give it up for
he
the
wasn't
joke.
getting
It's good.
he wasn't getting whatever, but he was dominating, striking guys out. He was having a
Sure.
great game, and
You earn a little bit of that.
yeah. And then he
cockiness,
got up.
right?
He got a few too many pitches. He got up around 85 pitches or so, and then he's in the 6th inning, and he strikes out the first guy in the inning. Fucking sword. Next guy falls behind 3-0.
Oh no.
And then he ends up 2 striking him, and then the guy hits a single back up the middle. Next guy also gets a single. He walks the next guy.
Yeah.
And now the bases are loaded. You know,
Not
and
doing
1
this-
out.
Yeah.
And then he gives up a fly ball to center field, and our guy that's going to the majors basically tries to throw out a guy tagging from 2nd to 3rd,
Well, yeah, he did the sword thing. He's trying to save Owen.
and then he throws the ball away.
Oh.
Run scores, tie game. Owen gets the next out. So if he would have got any one of those 3 after the sword,
Yeah.
game over, and then they game over, and then it goes to extra innings.
Oh, they won?
No, it goes to extra
Oh.
innings, and then he's out of the game
Because he pitched his amount.
pitched his 100 and whatever pitches, so he's done. And so they go to the 7th inning, out, they get him out. 8th inning, get him out. 9th inning, they hit a walk-off home run.
Mm.
And so then they won the next game, and then we went to the 3rd game, and we didn't have any real pitching left. Bad coaching decisions. Our best guy was on 3rd with no outs, fast. Like, this guy's a menace on the. He's got some crazy 50 steals in the season, like just nuts. And they strand him there. They don't bunt him over. They get a guy on 1st. They don't even try to steal 2nd. And then the guy hits him double play. We lose. It was just bad coaching. Plus the sword thing. But
Yeah.
you know.
I thought you were going to say, like, they hit a line drive and hit him in the nuts or something. That would be terrible. Like, you just were doing so well, and then you're like, which you kind of earn a little bit of cockiness if you're doing so well.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, cool. And then you get hit in the nuts, you know.
Yeah.
That would suck.
I feel like them loading those bases was like getting hit in the nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, that's what happened right after you celebrated.
Yeah, so don't ever enjoy yourself ever again.
But
is
it
the
didn't happen
lesson.
the other 4 times he did it. So it was.
Yeah.
But still, till the game's
I
over,
feel like
dude.
if I did it like 3 times, I'd be like, okay, I'm kind of pushing it. 3's enough. Or 2.
Yeah.
But hindsight's 20/20, and I also have never pitched out. I have never like struck somebody out in my life, so I don't know. I can't say like, oh, I would never do that, and then I have a feeling if I struck someone out, I'd be like, fuck you, you know.
Well, I remember when he was littler and he watched when Ronald Acuna Jr. first started playing.
Yeah.
And he was like it was like a revelation to him. He was like, oh my God, he goes, I want to play baseball like that.
Fun.
Like that, like have fun.
Personality.
Blah, blah, blah. And it was like, so, he does. But he won conference pitcher of the all conference pitcher of the year. And
how did he handle loading up the bases? Did he pretend commit seppuku?
Ha ha!
Or something?
That'd be funny, dude. Like when you walk a guy, if you're gonna sword, you have to kamikaze it or
yeah,
whatever.
live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
How did he handle loading up the bases?
Like he does. He just kept pitching. He got the next two guys out, but they did score the runs on the air,
Yeah.
But it's still, if the guys wouldn't have been on base, they wouldn't have scored. Because he was like, I don't know what else I could have done in that game. And I'm like, well, you could have not loaded the bases.
But
I got to be the dick dad.
He was also doing very well before that.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Monster. But if you're going to, it's like any coach would tell you, don't do that.
Yeah. Do what?
His college coach is not going to let him be on the mound in the whatever, in the Suncoast Conference, like striking a guy out in the third inning and celebrating.
I think they should.
It's the fucking third inning. You haven't done shit yet.
I think they should let them do that.
Okay.
It'd be fun. I think you'd get more people to go to the games. I think you'd get more interest in it. Because, I mean, like, baseball is baseball. Everybody knows what baseball is. So if you're into it, you're going to go see it. If you're not, you're not going to see it. But if you add a little bit of that, I mean, I know that's not like a purist thing to think, but I don't know. People are like, oh, we don't have the budget. Well, switch it up.
Yeah, it's fun to listen to. Like yesterday, I went to a game, and it's fun to listen to the players in the dugout give each other shit.
Yeah,
it's
fun.
Like,
who are we catering to make it? Who are we catering to make it like?
Well, the thing like the celebrating thing, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm a pitcher and I got to get guys
Keep
out.
Keep it classy, but like do a backflip.
I don't even know if it's about keeping it classy, but it's a lack of focus thing. Like when you're celebrating and patting yourself on the back.
Yeah.
There's and
that's on them.
Huh?
If I celebrate, I'm going to lose my focus, then don't celebrate. Just do a little or something.
Yes.
But, I mean, if you can focus and do a backflip and pitch 90 miles an hour consistently, come on now. Let them do a backflip.
Yeah.
Let them slice. Let them fruit ninja. Because I watched a documentary last night about this hockey team in, like, Connecticut.
What is fruit ninja?
I don't know. Like, you said he was doing, like, sword stuff.
You got worse than that. You know who that comes from?
What?
Trevor Bauer.
Who that is?
Trevor Bauer is he's like all the young pitchers coming up. He's the first sort of social media version of pitcher.
Okay.
So he's also went through the thing where he got suspended from Major League Baseball for
he's a bad boy.
Yeah.
We love bad boys.
Yeah. Well, I just don't think my son should be emulating dudes that are beting up women.
Oh, well, that part's not.
It was
cool.
consensual.
It
was consensual.
Well, you didn't tell me that part.
Well, and but he's also sort of, I think he's changing pitching for a young generation of pitchers coming up. Look up to him. Where he coming up was all the stuff he did, the way he threw long toss, the way he trained his body, the way he acted on the mound. He always has sort of created conflict and made himself be sort of a loner by doing that.
A maverick.
He came up with another great pitcher for the Yankees, Garrett Cole, and they did not like each other. And so, and he's again he's changing things. He changed the way pitchers sort of train their bodies and act on the thing. He basically got run out of Cleveland too because the coach came in to take him out of a game and he threw the ball over the center field wall from the pitcher's mound.
Wow, thing, you make my
as a way to sort of pout and be like, and other people are like, it's passion, Maybe but he's a good player.
If it disrupts the game, I guess that's different. But like they also have a pitch clock. Oh, like how they think that's going to be the
Dude, it is great.
Is it?
Yes. It speeds up the game so much. Like I literally used to watch the game and in between pitch I'd hit the 30-second fast forward button.
Yeah.
it would almost never would you miss a pitch. Now if you do it, you miss a pitch. You know, they get the ball, they play the game. So it's a little, it saves about 30, 35 minutes a game probably so far. And it does stop all the guys stepping out of the box and they got to adjust their every pad and then we get back in and, you know, they got to do everything to, okay, now I'm ready. It's
But
like fucking move the game along.
I
you know?
think if you put that much time into a thing, you should be allowed to fix your crotch.
Yes.
Make sure you don't got a wedgie. You know, do your little rosary thing, cross yourself, whatever.
Yeah, I was against it, but believe me, I was against it because I'm like, especially for the pitchers, it's like you need to be able to walk around and be like, all right, refocus.
Yeah.
And the hitters too, they got to do.
How lame would the natural be if it was like clear the mechanism? Penalty, you didn't do that.
Instead of hitting out the lights, he got called for a time delay. That's funny. Like he's bleeding or whatever.
Yeah.
He needs a second to recover, and they're like, sorry, dude, strike three.
Strike three.
And like, go bandage up. You're not hitting one into the lights.
Oh, what's the one where he's like clear the mechanism? Is that the natural?
I don't know.
He's
Well,
a
but that
pitcher.
is sort of a mental game of baseball thing. Like they step back, they sort of find their center, you know what I mean? And like, all right, just the swing, whatever they
For
do.
For the love of the game, that's the clear the mechanism one.
Yeah, a clearing mechanism?
Clear the mechanism. You know, Kevin Costner, he's the pitcher, and he's like, clear the mechanism.
Oh, I haven't seen that, but yes, that's exactly. It's
Yeah.
sort of the mental game. So I wonder if people do that in comedy, like right before you go on, you sort of clear the mechanism. You have a couple jokes that don't go in a row, so you take a walk around the mound or around the stage a little bit.
We should leave a dirt bag up there for people to pick up.
The guy working on the air conditioner, right? That was. I somehow made that awkward when all I was trying, like you said, how much longer is it going to be? And he said, I just have to connect these 4 wires, and then I got to that. He never answered the question.
Yeah,
so,
I speak contractor though.
Right. So, and then I felt like he felt I was rude to him by asking that.
You should have worked on cars with my dad as a kid, Tom. If I learned anything, it's not to say, it's kind of funny how while Dad's under a car with a flashlight.
That's not an answer.
I know, but
it's not even.
But you don't say anything. You don't be like, well, that's funny when you
what
think
he
about
said
it.
was, he said, I still have to reconnect these 4 wires, and to me, that's like, oh, he's almost done.
Yeah.
Could
That's
be.
like 5 minutes.
Could be.
No, I know what he's doing.
Yeah, because
Okay.
if it would have taken a while, they'd been like, oh my God.
But then he wanted to look at these other units, and I said, but you're going to look at these other units too, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll do that too, which I don't think he did, but did he?
No. I insulted him.
But
so
I think he was afraid that he was bothering you guys.
Oh, I didn't.
Because
So
you
it-
said something?
It was just a language barrier thing?
Yeah, it's a language barrier,
I
yeah.
meant that it was funny that to me that's a funny premise. Like you say, how long is that going to take? How much longer is that going to take you? And he knows that means 5 minutes. But I don't know. That could be an excuse that it could be a half hour. We're on a time thing here. That's like, how long is this going to take? And he's like, I don't know. I just got to finish this brain surgery and then stitch him up.
Yeah,
That's not an answer.
But
How
it-
long do you
guys
get here?
don't
Well,
like-
how long do you get here? I'm at Wendy's. Like, what? That's not an answer
Yeah.
to the question.
to you, but to me, I understand.
Okay,
what
so
you're
to you that you know what that they know the translation of connect these 4 wires means 5 to 7 minutes.
saying. I know how long it would take me to connect those 4 wires, so yeah.
Maybe he's more thorough than you. Is what I'm saying. Like he
Yeah,
didn't-
Neil says he's on the spectrum and he can still pick up social cues that you can't. Tom, come on.
But when I talked to him outside before he left, and he's coming back Monday to check these other units because the machine, the units outside aren't working correctly. It's like the freon might be low or something.
Because then he was like, I can just leave. Like, oh, I wasn't meaning. Like, oh shit.
He's I will come back when that other guy's not in there.
Yeah, I'll just go fuck myself.
Why
I
doesn't that guy
guess.
just stick to his own self? We know what do we mean.
But yeah, a blue collar guy working on a thing doesn't want to hear. It's funny how that's no sentence. They don't want to. Nobody wants to hear that. While
That's
they're doing that.
he's and that's the thing too about language too. Like, do you ever do? Like, I noticed this when I was going to get on a ship in Puerto Rico, where I'd say, you say, all right, you're at a Mexican restaurant or whatever, and you say, gracias or hola, right? Just to sort of that's their word, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, I don't do that.
but
Yeah, I don't do that either.
That
You
seems
don't?
Racist.
No, if I was in Mexico,
I'm kidding.
sure.
no, like you're in a Mexican restaurant and they bring you over and they're obviously Spanish. You don't say
I
gracias.
do not.
No.
Oh, wow.
Well, No, I don't.
I don't.
I say thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
I
just
do
say
both,
thanks.
but I'll sometimes. But if you,
I have said it though, because I'll say, if they speak it in Spanish to me, I might say it.
so that like there's a guy at my gym. He speaks Spanish, and he doesn't really know English. And sometimes he'll come and say like 4 or 5 words to me, 6, 7, whatever he's saying.
Get out of the way.
And I'm just like, we sort of say hi in our way and blah 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 until you make a muscle, whatever he's doing,
Yeah, yeah.
But so I started doing the hello.
He comes over to you and
I started
makes
doing hello and
muscles.
hola. What'd you say?
He comes over to you and makes muscles and
It's
speaks
universal
Spanish.
language. Yeah,
What's
universal
happening?
language.
I think he's just trying to be like, you're in here a lot, getting bigger, whatever he's. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish, but. So I started doing hello and hola together as hola. Like while I'm working, I'm like, oh, that'll be good. And I'm practicing how to say it.
Yeah.
Hola, right?
Hello.
And then I went to Puerto Rico and I did it. And I was like, hello. And I would say hola. And then once you say that, they take that as, oh, we speak Spanish from here.
Right, yeah.
And then I'm
He
screwed.
probably thought you hit your head. Hello, la. Usually at restaurants, Mexican restaurants, I don't say thanks. I usually pull out 2 revolvers and say thank you, arriba, and then I shoot them up in the air and start ululating.
Yes. What's the last word you said?
Ululating.
What
I
is
think I'm saying it
ululate?
right.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. I saw it on closed captions whenever someone was going,
Ululating.
like that.
I've never heard that either.
I haven't either.
Ululating.
He saw a word on captions of somebody on Instagram, and he's like,
Ululate.
today's
Howl or-
word is ululating.
Yeah. Ululating. Howl or wail
it
is
was
an
just a
expression of
misspelling.
strong emotion. Typically grief. Never mind. I didn't use it right.
Oh, I like that you tried to use a new word.
Yeah.
Just
Swing and a
'cause
miss.
It's a difficult word too.
Swinging every ball.
So I might be being. You're saying I might be being racist by saying.
I don't think
No,
you're
I'm
being
kidding, man.
racist.
It's not
No,
racist at
you're not
all,
being
yeah.
racist. I think they're just.
No, I think it's just funny.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. To make me feel that way, it's
Yeah.
funny.
And if they hear you say hola, they should immediately know you don't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Why? What is?
Just the way you say it.
Oh, okay. That's wrong. But people do, right? And then you're like, now.
That's something like white middle-aged moms do, I think. I'm a younger.
Or dads.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, oh, Dad, you're embarrassing me thing.
I think it's something from our generation.
Yeah.
No, I think it's I care about the people, and I want to.
No, I
want to
agree with you.
acknowledge. Look, I know you speak a different language, and I want to use your terms. We're in your restaurant. We're eating your food. I don't know what chorizo means. What the fuck? You know what I mean? Whatever. So, but
Chorizo.
now
Yeah,
I say it, and then it's like now we're speaking Spanish, and I have to be like, I have to be all like, oh, no hablo inglés or
I think
español.
I think all the cultural appropriation stuff is bullshit anyway. I think cultural appropriation is a good thing. I think it's shitty to make fun of people's cultures if you're being hateful and harmful. But I think if you're like appreciating somebody's culture and you're celebrating something from someone else's culture, you should do that. That's cultural appreciation.
Okay.
It's like how we learn things. All cultures are just blends of multiple cultures.
The melting pot.
Yeah, we should all be melting
Yeah.
together
Yes.
in a positive way.
So it's not appropriation if it's like you're like that looks cool. I want to wear that.
Yeah, exactly.
That would look good on me.
Yeah, like if you like dreadlocks, and you're a white dude, you should wear dreadlocks. It's your hair. And if you appreciate dreadlocks, then that a lot of cultures have dreadlocks. There's nothing wrong with it. It might look silly to some people, but if you like it, do it. It's and if you're doing it to make fun of somebody, you're just being an asshole.
Right.
But at the same time, if you want to do that too. We'll just all call you an asshole.
Yeah. All right. I mean, like people that wear rebel flag hats and stuff. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
That's just like
You're
a
just
bumper
an
sticker on
asshole.
your car that says I'm not talking to you.
Yeah. I mean,
It saves me time.
why not share your thoughts? That's what good about freedom of speech is people can tell you how they really feel, what they think about things. I kind of want to know what people think about things. Because if you have fucked up thoughts about things, I probably don't want to associate with you.
Yes. So you want to know those thoughts?
It's your
or not?
red flag.
And so I can tell you why your thoughts are fucked up, or what my thoughts are. Like why not share our thoughts? Just because you don't let
What do you
someone
think Facebook
say
and Twitter
something-
and all that shit is? Like we sharing our thoughts. We don't. Yeah. Like we've talked about before. You don't need to read people's minds. I'm literally forced to read people's minds.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think that maybe that kind of comes from, not to use a term that's been used so much, do you think that idea kind of comes from a place of privilege, I guess, from us as white people? Because when I see a rebel flag, I'm like, oh, I'm going to steer clear of that guy, whatever.
I don't think so at all.
But if you're, I'm not a black person, but if you're a black person, you think, oh my God, I'm just trying to have a normal Tuesday, and here's a guy with a flag that's like history.
I hate
I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think you hide things from society. I don't think you hide things that exist. I think you acknowledge the problems. I think you can pretend they don't exist, but if it exists, let it exist and then deal with it. And if you don't like it, then we need to work on ourselves as a society and as a civilization where those things don't exist anymore.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
But I think that's
we
a hard
are,
thing to
I
say
think.
to someone who's just trying to live, like just trying to go out.
Well, it's
and
one
have
thing
their
if
day.
somebody is like, no, I don't. Yeah, I mean, we all have things we don't like, and we're all the same. We're all just people.
Yeah.
We're all one. We're
We
all one
are.
consciousness.
I mean,
we've hypnotized ourselves into living
Really,
in
and
this world.
we are social creatures. We are. There is like a telepathic nature to humanity. You know, we all share ideas. We're all like idea filters. You know, and some people have bad ideas, and some people have, you know, our society, just society in general. There's a lot of struggles just being a human. You know, it's not easy being a person.
Yeah, you got to be on time.
And
You got to work on your birthday.
And in the United States, we're really lucky in a lot of ways or any first world civilization is lucky because the problems that we have are a lot easier to navigate than the problems that people in third world countries have. You know, we're you know.
I think you're underestimating my problems. What? Give me an example.
Well, I mean, we're not.
What's easier for a guy in a third world than you got one leg? You know what I'm saying?
We all have food, though. We're
Do we all have food?
Really
There's a lot
nice
of people. There's a lot of people hungry in the United States.
What is it?
There's a lot of people hungry in the United
for sure,
States.
yeah, too many. But you know, like even poor people in the U.S. can eat typically. I mean, there's homeless. You know, there are situations where people can't, and that's a big problem. But those situations are exponentially worse than other countries.
Why can't we just label it? It's like forced health. Like it's, you know what I'm saying? It's sort of the government and all the rest of us sort of helping you intermittent fast. Because you don't really have the willpower to do it. So we just make food prices higher so that you sort of have to do it. And then we're helping you health-wise.
Oh.
Right? It generates brain function. It makes your body healthier. What do you think about that, Seth?
So just because you say you're helping me.
The government is making you fast.
Right. I'm looking for positive spins for the Republican Party on cutting funding for food stamps.
I could, you know,
we're
that
not,
sounds
we're
like
not cutting funding to food stamps. We're helping them intermittent fast.
Yeah. That sounds like something both sides would use, honestly.
Oh, they would.
Yeah, the right would be like, it'll make you stronger, and the left would be like, oh, it'll make you more in tune with your, like some kind of horse shit or whatever from both sides.
Yes. Because if you're going to eat organically and you're going to eat with like you would in nature, some days you're not going to eat, right?
That's yeah, I guess.
Wait, say that again?
Some days you're not going to eat.
Before that.
If you're out in the world having
I don't know, hunter-gatherers eat every day.
Do they?
Yeah, they just go out and gather and eat
Hunt.
every day.
So that's sort of one of the points that Ishmael
Yeah, it'd be
makes.
embarrassing if you were a hunter-gatherer and you're like, shit, I didn't hunt or gather anything
I
today.
did no gathering.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to gather with y'all to eat.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go gather the food.
That's when you.
The hunters get it. The rest of us gather and eat it.
Then you're just
right?
on your own. Then you're just a wanderer.
Yeah.
So what happened to my Ishmael book? Oh, I'm holding it in my hand. That's what Ishmael talks like. We were just talking about that.
He's a gorilla.
He's a gorilla that talks, or
Which
telepathically.
sounds like a really funny book, but it doesn't sound very funny.
It's not funny. It's very like philosophical and you know, but like you're saying, there are still hunter-gatherers. There are people where they don't have their food locked up. There are people that, and they have zero suicide rates. They're on no medications. They're not having to.
Well, a lot of
to,
them are on medications now because a lot of the hunter-gatherers, like in the Amazon and stuff, they receive medications through charitable organizations and stuff, just because they have such a big problem with parasites.
Right.
So they'll get some aid, you know. But it's like it seems like when societies like that start to try to become modern is when their lives become more difficult.
Yes. Yeah. So that's Ishmael's point in this, is that we have, that's what we did as humans.
Yeah.
We
I don't think that's
we made life more difficult.
Yeah, but
in the long run because of the choices we made.
I think that's a lot of hubris in that statement.
What does hubris mean?
It means that
giving ourselves too much credit.
Yeah, like you think that we created all this technology and we do all this advancement just because we want to. I think it's just what we do. I don't think any one human or group of humans decided this. I think it's just it's the ants. The ants don't think about the anthills they build. They just build anthills. That's what they do. And just like humans, we don't think about the technology we build. We just build it.
Yeah.
And it keeps evolving, and we add complexity. It's just.
Do you ever mow over an anthill?
Yeah, sure.
And they rebuild it right there.
No, I think they move.
It's not very smart.
I think if it gets smashed, like.
Depends on how bad it's damaged, probably.
Yeah, then like a different one will be like, I can't find my homies, so I'm just gonna make my own over here.
I can't find my homies.
Yeah, or whatever. My friends, my
pals.
pals.
I'm pretty sure that if the ants get separated from the queen, they die.
Aren't they? Do they? No, really?
Yeah.
They're like bees, where they have to have a.
I think it's a similar dynamic. Yeah.
Man, they are relentless, dude. The ants. Do you ever get you get ants at all in your house?
Oh, I have. They're rough.
They are. You kill them all off, and they're back in 2 years. They're just like. You leave cat food down, they find their way to them. Like, where did these come from? Like,
there'd be a little trail all the way to the.
Yeah, those fuckers are relentless.
Yeah, well, they're good at what they do.
Yeah, you're right, Neil. It says, unfortunately for the ants, when the queen dies, the worker ants can only survive for a few months.
Yeah, they'll do a death spiral. They'll walk in a circle until they die.
Yeah.
Simps. If they get lost. Even if they get lost, if they get because they leave pheromones. When they go out to gather food and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And if they lose their trail back to their nest, they'll just walk in a circle until they die.
Yeah. I used to read about ants a little bit, just because they have a mass consciousness.
It's interesting.
How much they can lift. You know what I mean?
Bees are really interesting.
That's sort of where that's our idea of like them rebuilding, because it's like the thing I saw was talking about how smart they are and how they're the per size, they have the biggest brain of anything on the planet, and how genius they are. And it's like, well, then why do I just mow over their colony every week and then they rebuild it in the same spot when the flower bed is right there where I don't mow? They could move over there. And if they're so great at communicating, they have to have an understanding that it's getting ready to happen again. Like the night before, they're like, all right, everybody, tomorrow's Saturday. And as is the case nearly every Saturday, we can expect the total destruction of the top third of the colony. All right, so workers, be ready.
How long is a week to an ant, though?
Yeah. Ants don't
got
calendars.
How long is a week to an ant, though?
I don't even
It's
know.
got to be a long time.
Yes. It's like the fruit fly that lives 24 hours at the end of his days. Like, when I was a kid, we didn't have sunsets.
But also, I don't think those things are conscious like we are, though. It's a different type of intelligence.
Dude, this is conscious. Rocks have consciousness.
Well,
it's all consciousness.
Why do you think you're not the ant?
Yeah, I was about to say, you're sounding like God. Maybe God looks at us
Well,
and
you know
says,
what I mean?
why are they
I would like to believe that.
Well, I think Tom is God. He's a part of God. I am too. You are too. God's everything. That table's part of God. It's just, what is God? What is the universe? What is the planet? It's all one thing. It's all just information. It's just one singularity of information, and it's constantly becoming more complex.
So, that's an interesting idea. So you know how science kind of shows that when you get down to the level of whatever the atomic level, and even in our DNA and blah blah blah, a lot of that comes down to the choices that are made that then change the expression of that DNA, or like just the viewing of itself.
Well, that's not the atomic level, but yeah, the DNA.
But on the atomic level,
Gene
whatever, just the observing of it takes the observing of the thing for it to act. Like a quark will be different depending on the observer. You know what I mean?
That's the atomic
level.
Yeah.
So on that, so that is then where it all starts, where creation all starts. So then that is in interacting with the observer's consciousness.
Well, maybe.
So that all those observations and ideas and thoughts and parts of consciousness then end up creating the universe from the atom up, and the combination of all of those together.
Well, I don't think the atom is necessarily.
It's the core of everything.
I don't think. Well, not necessarily. It seems very possible that information theory is the core of everything.
What is information theory?
Information is the base. Information could very well be the base of reality. Information could be what creates the atom, or at least allows you to experience what we call an atom.
But then the creation of that comes from
consciousness. The experience of consciousness could be what generates reality.
Okay, that's what I just said.
Which is the observation of the information. So physical reality may not be real. It may just all be data. And as this data becomes more and more complex, it's like building on top of itself. It's like, what is that thing called?
Anthills?
No,
what's on top of itself?
What is the thing called where you can just let it do its own thing and it develops complexity? It's
mud daubers. Mud daubers make
Life?
them little.
Well, sort of.
All of life?
I think it's the game of life.
Oh.
But it's called something.
That's how I have like I've talked about before. I have a slight bone to pick with the second rule of thermodynamics.
It's called cellular automaton.
Okay. Wow.
That was on the tip of my tongue.
He looked at us like we would know that.
That was on the tip of my tongue, honestly.
I need to. I don't even know. Do you have to tell me what both of those words mean?
Well, it's where you can take.
That sounds like something in Transformers.
I was about to say that since I got Optimus Prime's.
You take a very simple pattern, digital pattern, and you let it just do its own thing, and it I can't remember exactly how it works. It's like it creates new pixels, and some pixels die, but it's a specific pattern that it repeats, or it's a repeating pattern. But if you let it just run on its own, it creates these complex designs, and they almost look like living things. Like it'll create these things that look like birds that just fly across the screen and stuff. And it's all two-dimensional pixels, but life may operate in a similar way, just a much more complex way. And if it's all just information, then the information is constantly becoming more complex, and eventually that becomes consciousness. And then once you have consciousness, then you can experience all the information. And it's just, we could just be conscious entities interfacing with information in a way that allows us to experience a physical reality that's not really physical.
None of that makes sense to me. I know all those words.
It's
too much for me. It's beyond my IQ point level.
He's basically saying we're in a very complex version of Minesweeper. Remember that game, Minesweeper?
I have a resistance to the whole "we're in a machine" thing for some reason.
I don't think it's necessarily.
But I have this. But I'm totally open to the idea of there is a zillion. There's an infinite number of universes, and every decision and choice gets played out. But
it's all machines, though. We are machines. We're biological machines, but even it's all the same shit, man. Okay. Every bit of it's the same stuff. For some reason, we feel like we're not a part of it because we can observe it, because we're conscious. Mm. But I feel like the ants are us. They're just a part. It's all one system. We're just a part of that.
I gotta tell you, I feel pretty broken without my queen. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm just go out and walk around my house till I die. I'll do that.
Drink sugar water.
or until I get arrested.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get arrested for walking around your house unless you don't pay your bills.
Okay.
If you don't pay for the house, they'll
the house is paid for.
Well, you got to pay the taxes, though.
I got that. That's right.
So it's not really paid for.
No shit.
You're renting it from the government.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on to a subject.
We can do better, though. We should just care about each other.
Easier said than done.
Maybe every day when people go eat, if you can afford it, you should buy someone else lunch that can't afford it.
Pay it forward.
If I'm not going to have lunch, I should pay for somebody else to have lunch?
No, if you're going to have lunch, if you can afford your lunch, if you can afford lunch and you can afford to pay for someone else's lunch, maybe you can just buy someone else's lunch who can't afford it.
55 burgers.
How many people can't afford lunch?
Shouldn't they just get a job?
Yeah. You know that's not that easy.
See,
and that's another problem. A lot of people that have jobs still can't buy lunch.
Yeah.
Is that a job or is that slavery?
Again, back to this. Lock up the food,
I don't
baby.
want to be a fucking hunter-gatherer, dude.
Huh?
Are we going to go out and hunt
You have a way to
gather?
You have a way to solve all the money situation and the health-wise in your head. You don't have a food solution? You don't have a food solution that's everybody gets what they need for food and that there's nobody becoming zillionaires off of it. It's sort of a collective effort that we
Well,
we
I've
feed everybody. That's
said
the minimum
before-
we do. We feed everybody. We give them medicine. Like
Yeah.
that. Those two things are the minimum that we do. You don't think that that's a doable thing?
Oh,
you think
absolutely.
it has to be for a profit way we do it now?
It can be both. I think it needs to be heavily regulated because eggs shouldn't be. If the cost of eggs for the people who provide eggs, the egg farmers, their cost went up. It wasn't a whole lot. I think it was like
Well, a lot of them died.
20% or
A
something.
lot of the chickens died.
But they increased the cost. It doesn't matter. The cost change wasn't that extensive, but they still increased the price of eggs by 400%. They could have increased the price of eggs by 20% and made just as much profit. You know, they
So you're saying they had to make their full slate of profit?
what I think's happening, I think it's price gouging, and I think all the commodities are being inflated artificially because because now the biggest, most powerful corporations control the food and the commodities. So if
That's smart of them.
if they well, yeah, because that controls everything. Because if you can artificially inflate the prices of all the commodities and all your basic needs, then you can put all the small businesses out of business and take over those market shares. Because that's what big companies do. They acquire other businesses. They want more market share. I mean, it's what.
So when you're consulting a business, do you consult them to acquire other businesses or because you sound sort of annoyed that that's the system, but you're right when you're working within the system, you're going to be like,
I have to operate based on how the system operates. Yeah. So if I was the CEO of a big company, I would have to do whatever I could do to make that company as profitable as possible based on the laws and guidelines of the society. And if that means that we can have slaves working in some other country making our parts, then I don't have a choice. I can make you aware of that. I can say, hey, this might be a problem. I don't think we should do this. But this machine is going to do it regardless because that's what it has to do, because it only answers to its shareholders and it has to be as profitable as possible. And if I do something that hurts the profits of the company, it just ejects me from the machine.
Yeah, that's a dumb system.
And I'm not a CEO of a big corporation. And I don't think corporations that size should even exist in the form that they are currently. But that's the society we have. It's a corrupt society.
How many of these companies are bigger than Rockefeller's, like Standard Oil was at the time?
I don't know how big they were.
As far as market share and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, BlackRock is probably the most powerful company in the world, at least the most powerful public company in the world, and it's worth $12-13 trillion.
Is there like one family at the top of that, or who runs it?
No, there's a CEO. I can't think of his name.
So it's just a faceless. It's basically its own entity, and then
Larry
whoever
Fink.
works.
Larry Fink, yeah. All these giant corporations. There's nobody controlling them. They're machines. They're mindless machines that are very compartmentalized.
Oh wow! So it's an example of what AI will be.
It's like AI that's not conscious. Yeah, it is. That's the
Has
machine
no
I'm worried
conscious, yet it counts as an individual.
It has
to the government. It counts as an individual. Like that's what I think Citizens United is. It considers a corporation has the same rights as an individual, basically.
Yeah, because that's why.
So that's interesting. So we already have an example of what AI will act like.
That's why an individual that owns a corporation is separate from the corporation. That's why you have corporate protection, because that machine operates and functions in a specific way, and it may not even align with your beliefs or goals or ideologies. So it's that's a terrible system. It is. Yeah, it's what happens when you have capitalism that's unregulated or underregulated. You can't have any ism. All the isms are problematic on their own. You really just need, and really we need to get
all
away
the
from
isms. Now you got me thinking.
We need
ism that's good.
We need things that function in a positive way and function in the benefit. Everything that we do as humans should benefit us as humans, and there should be a lot of value in that too. And I think there is. I think if you had a healthy society, you would have a lot less problems, and you'd have a lot more prosperity. You'd have a lot more success, even as entrepreneurs or corporations, you could do a lot better with a healthy society, because then you have more consumers. You have healthy consumers. You have people that can.
So why would the machine cut its own throat then?
Well, people are really short-sighted, and politicians are worried about what's going to help them today. You know, they're worried about their own personal interests and the interests of the people that are paying them, and not the people that they're supposed to represent and serve.
ADD again.